Women are watching. They don't even know what the repercussions are going to be.
For me personally, this wasn't that deep in the aspects of relationship issues because I knew that this guy was a player. We started talking like 2 years ago, stopped talking a few days after New Year's, few days before the TikTok ban, somewhere in there. And it was on and off for those years, very casual. The part that pissed me off was that this almost cost me a friendship with a really great girl. As you guys know, he was on my live on a panel like right after the election. I let him up on the panel. He was there, whatever. After that, I had said something about wanting more women to get into the debate space, and if you wanted to DM me. And so Reese, my good friend, did. She DM'd me. This was also to find out if him and I were talking because of the way that he acted towards me in the live and the way that I reciprocated that. She DM'd me and asked me if him and I were talking, and I said no because I didn't know her and didn't want people in my business, and I had spent 2 years keeping that violently under wraps from you guys. And then I found out that she was talking to him, and so I backed off. I didn't speak to him after that for a good long while because I'm not gonna sit here and compete for a fucking TikToker. And then her and I became friends. She would come up on my panel. We talked on the phone before and after lives constantly. We got really close. And then one day I get a DM. The DM was from this guy. He said, basically, I need you to do me a favor. I said, what was the favor? He said, I need you to block Reese. And me, I wanted to get both sides of the story. And so, long story short, I communicated with her. I communicated with him. He told me that everything she told me was fake, a lie, and that she was crazy. And because I knew him for 2 years, and because I thought that he was a half decent person, like maybe a player, but a half decent person, I blocked her. And that's something I have to take responsibility for, is that I allowed a guy to use me to aid in ostracizing a girl from the internet completely, because he didn't like that she talked to her friends and a couple of texts got leaked. The rest of me and him talking was still casual, but I had been in a position at that point where I didn't want something casual anymore. I didn't want to mess around like that anymore. I wanted something serious. I told him so. I basically told him, hey, I'm going to be in DC at this time. If you're not there, I'm taking this as a sign not to talk to you anymore. He said he was going to be there, and then a couple days later said he wasn't going to be there. Took it as a sign, stopped talking to him. He ended up being there, and I violently avoided him while I was there. We did not see each other, we did not interact, but we're in town at the same time. I wasn't talking to him when he did this soft launch. He wasn't talking to me. However, yes, it is true, he still has things saved in our chats as of right now. I'm going to be communicating that to get that gone when I get off of here. I don't think the hus would approve of that being there. So yeah, that's my side. If you want to hear the other women's sides who are much more serious than that, I will be tagging them below. You can go ahead and see their stories for yourself. The entire point of this was to hold somebody accountable who has amassed a large, very female, very young following by claiming that they support women, that they respect women, and this is evidence otherwise.
I never anticipated that I would need to speak on this, but here we are. So this is a story about a certain political TikToker, and also I just wanted to come on here and confirm Diana's video that she posted last night and tell my side of the story because there's a lot to unpack, and also I want to explain to people why I'm coming out and why everyone else is coming out, and explain why we think that this guy needs to take accountability for his actions. So in around November, I had DM'd this guy asking for debate tactics and just to talk about politics in general because I had just gotten into the debate space on TikTok. And originally it was just strictly politics, and then we started talking a little bit about like what I wanted to do for university and stuff. Because I'm 18 and I was freshly 18 when we started talking. A little after that, it became flirty, and that was introduced by me. I will be completely transparent and honest about this entire thing. And then shortly after, he asked me if I had Snapchat, and I added him on Snapchat. So we started talking on there, and almost immediately, not even almost, like literally immediately, the first message was something like explicit or asking me to get explicit, and I was like, well, I've never done this before, and I'm also like more of a get coffee first kind of girl, and like I'm always going back and forth to the city, so if you want to hang out, I would be down to hang out. So flash forward a little bit, because I was really involved in like actual politics and participating in watching his lives and doing all that stuff, this girl who I had been in contact with reached out to me asking if I would tell him to join this Discord that they had made, and I also helped participate in making like some of the features in the Discord. So he joined, and then that's when things went downhill. This is the part where I need to take accountability because yes, I was talking to people that I trusted, and I just trusted the wrong person, but I also shouldn't have taken the photo without his consent. To be fully clear, the photo was messages that we exchanged back and forth, and he said something kind of like like it was crazy, so I had took a picture of it, but I have never saved or sent any photos or anything like that he had sent me. So this photo got around, he was really mad, and we had spoke about it, and he wasn't even that mad, he just seemed like unwilling to talk about it. And he had told me basically that the only way that he would talk about it with me and work it out was if I had sent him this video that he wanted of me, which at the time I was just not comfortable with doing that, and yeah. So that in itself is just incredibly manipulative behavior, and I had called him out for it, and he was like, that's not manipulative, we had talked about it before. So the part with Diana that comes in is when I had messaged her. We had started going live together and doing debates and talking all the time, and I also wanted to know if she was talking to him because they had interacted on her live and they were both really flirty and stuff, and he had told me that they were friends and that he wasn't talking to anyone else. And at the time she told me that they weren't talking because we didn't know each other that well, and she wanted like privacy, and she didn't want anyone knowing that. And so I had told her everything that happened after he had sent her a message to block me, and she trusted him because they had been friends for years, and she did block me. Basically, he told her that I had made fake photos of him. I guess I'm some AI genius because I have no clue how to do that, bro. And also that I had fabricated the entire thing and made fake photos of our Snapchat conversations. He said that we didn't even talk, and the only time that we had talked or spoken was on Instagram DM, which was just fully not true. So after this, I had multiple people messaging me and harassing me, telling me like, why would you make stuff up? You're crazy, you're a crazy fangirl. So I just got off Discord. I deleted Discord, I deleted TikTok. I even deleted like Twitter and Blue Sky because I did not want to see this dude's face. I was just over it. And flash forward to now, about like 30 hours ago, I get a text message on Instagram from Diana telling me that she's so sorry because she believes me now, and there are 10 plus girls in a group chat all talking and discussing about what this guy has done to them. And obviously I don't want to speak for anyone else, so I'll only share like my story along with Diana. But another thing is that I had a phone call with this political TikToker guy last night explaining what was going on, yelling at him basically and telling him to explain what was happening because I had blocked him and I'd unblocked him to communicate basically. He had told me that all these other girls were crazy and was saying that he had proof and wouldn't show it, and on his live yesterday with his best friend, they just did not hold themselves accountable at all and were absolutely ridiculous and calling the girls lunatics and just being outrageous. How are you going to be a TikToker or any influential person to young girls and talk about women's rights and talk about these important things that you apparently value, and then treat girls behind the scenes, women behind the scenes, like they're nothing? The big thing about this is that most of us knew that it wasn't just them, and most of us don't care that he was talking to other people. The biggest thing is that he lied over and over and over again. He manipulated people. I don't know if you guys have seen Carly's video. Please check out Carly's video. She was essayed, and around the time that she was essayed, he started talking to her explicitly, and she had sent him photos, and she didn't want to send him photos or have them saved if he was talking to other people. And he lied and said that he wasn't talking to other people just so that she would continue to send him photos. The other thing I want to say is it's not acceptable to be getting his girlfriend involved or doxing her or anything like that. I understand him wanting to protect his privacy and other people in his life, but at the same time, I've seen no evidence whatsoever that anyone has been doing that. I really just want this guy to come out and apologize to everyone and take accountability for his actions instead of saying boys will be boys and calling girls lunatics. Their feelings are 100% valid, and it's not their fault that you decided to talk to like 12 girls in the span of like a few months. And also, maybe stop acting like the guy, the orange dude, you know, the one that you talk about every day of your life. Maybe stop acting like him. He is the one who called E. Jean Carroll a lunatic, and you're just following in his footsteps. But to everyone who made it this far, thank you guys so much for listening to my story, Diana's story, Carly's story, Serenity, everyone who has come out and talked about this. This is just unacceptable, and we really appreciate your support. And also, this will be the last time that I am speaking on this, and I will probably be off the internet again. But yeah.
I got played by a TikTok influencer for 9 months, and I think it's time that I expose his trashy ass behavior. We started talking in May of last year, right before my birthday, and he like wooed me. He was very kind. I felt really excited and thankful that I found somebody who, at the time, I thought respected me for more than my physical appearance. And yeah, I literally could have never imagined or even like fathomed what was gonna end up happening after talking for 9 months. I'm really embarrassed to admit this, but I created a private story on Snapchat for just him and named it For Your Eyes Only, and he loved it. He loved the attention that I was giving him and the fact that he knew that I wasn't entertaining anybody else the way I was entertaining him. Within the first 2 to 3 months, he had told me on 2 separate occasions that I was wife material and that he was quote-unquote sold on my wifey application. He was frequently saving my snaps and just like making me feel good about myself, call me beautiful and gorgeous. So it's like, how could I not read into that? 6 months into talking, he suddenly is like, I'm not looking for any commitment and I'm not in a place to find anything long-term right now. I'm just really busy, blah, blah, blah. And like, I was understanding. I was fine keeping things casual. However, I couldn't help but feel that he led me on. And he even admitted to that. He's like, yeah, that's on me for like not making my intentions clearer. Okay. He tells me a couple more times after that he doesn't want commitment. And then next thing I know, he's posting a soft launch thirst trap of him and his new girlfriend 2 weeks ago. Actually, prior to this, I had found out that he fucked around with somebody else by him going live on TikTok and showing hickeys on his neck. That's how I literally found out that he was fucking around. And so I confronted him about it, right? Like any normal person would do. And he got all defensive and started like gaslighting me, basically saying that I was like overreacting and all this stuff. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? Keep in mind, he was well aware of the fact that I was very depressed following a very traumatic car accident that I had been in, and he still took advantage of my sadness. Anywho, I forgot to mention, but we were mutuals on TikTok, mutuals on Instagram. I was his only friend on Facebook, and I have receipts of this, of course, but he's trying to remove me from everything. He demanded that I unsave everything on Snapchat because he had a new girlfriend, and it was like out of respect for her. Bro, you don't know the first thing about respecting women. Jump to last night, I find out that he was leading somebody else on at the same time he was leading me on. And my world was shook. I DM'd her because I saw a comment she left on his backup account, I guess is what you could call it. And she was like, oh my God, I think we went through the same thing. And I was like, no freaking way, girl, spill. And so, long story short, we talked literally probably 6-7 hours last night, exposing everything. Early on in the conversation, she tells me that he had told her in December that he had no roster. What the fuck do you call me? You're talking to me for 7 months at that point, and you're gonna say that you have no roster. I see. She shared screenshots of their conversations, I shared screenshots of ours, and we basically came to the conclusion that he is a despicable, disgusting fuckboy. He sits here on his platform of almost 2 million followers and preaches respect for women and believing women, blah, 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 blah. And then he disrespected us so grossly, asked for extremely intimate images, made us both think that we were the only one he was talking to, and then he started dating somebody else. So we have no idea how long she was in the picture. This is just a very broad outline of the story, and I'm more than happy to do a follow-up with receipts and more details, but I literally could not sit on this information for any longer, and I had to just get it out there because I quite literally could have burst into flames at this point because I'm so angry. But yeah, he's wishing everyone a happy International Women's Day after telling people on live earlier that I'm insane. So, yeah, you're clocked, buddy.
Don't read on live. Yeah, I saw about this. Like actually lunatics. Like genuinely, they are. This individual in question is insane.
Wait, who is that?
And so, I'll send. Yeah, I can share with Chris. I'll send a screenshot. Yeah, no, like legitimately, Chris and I have been talking about this for days now.
Uh-oh.
This individual
Wait,
is
who?
fucking crazy.
Wait,
bro.
what?
If you want to support the live,
Bro,
it's an
that
incredible
bro.
mentos. I'm saying, dude. I am saying.
No, you be good out there, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
You be safe.
That's what. That's also. What
He
I'm
said
saying,
that's what he
Virgo.
said. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I had been following this political influencer for a couple months prior to me DMing him, basically just offering my support and telling him that I was proud of what he was doing and that I was learning a lot from him. A little bit after that, I shared with him that I was a survivor of SA, and if he ever needed a victim's perspective during one of his TikTok live debates, I would be willing to share my story. He was really nice about it, was supportive, thanked me for sharing with him, and also for my willingness to speak on it if he ever needed somebody to. After talking just like a couple more times in Instagram DMs, I was like, hey, like you should add me on Snapchat if you want to, and he did. So that was in May, like right before my birthday. Pretty quickly into us Snapchatting, he started saving snaps where I just like looked pretty, I guess, and if you know, you know, like that's a compliment. It wasn't anything inappropriate, it was just very flattering because I looked good, and he was kind of telling me that by wanting to keep those pictures of me in our chat. Shortly then after that, it became more of like an inappropriate infatuation with me, and he kind of hinted at that by saying something along the lines of I had some like interesting or sexy pictures of me on my Instagram, and I was like, oh, okay. Granted, this was highly unexpected because I was like, you don't act this way at all on TikTok. I honestly didn't expect to like start talking because of my original DM, but obviously I was excited too because I had a lot of respect for him. I thought he was like this champion for women, supported our rights, berated people who disrespected women, and just all that stuff that, you know, makes a woman feel safe, right? Not long after we started snapping, I made some joke about probably having a bunch of competition, and he then told me that I had no competition and said that he was content, implying that he was content with just me. At another point, he told me that my opinion was the only one that mattered. So of course I like ate that stuff right up. Like I was so excited and just like completely shocked, and obviously like way too trusting. So time's passing, he's still saving a bunch of my snaps. I start saving snaps that he's sending as replies because one, they made me feel good, and two, now I'm glad I have them as receipts because he's calling me insane online. When September came around, I told him that the anniversary of my essay was coming up, and so he was well aware of this. And then on the night of September 15th, before he went live to debate on TikTok, he messaged me just wanting to check in, seeing how I was doing. And to me, that spoke volumes. I was like, that's really sweet of you. Thank you for checking in. And then after he was done debating, he tried to FaceTime me, but unfortunately, I had already fallen asleep. Anyway, he attempted to call me. I didn't answer. He messaged me and told me to answer. And since I was sleeping, I didn't see it till the next morning. But when I saw that I had a missed call, again, I was like, how sweet is this that he really took the time out to want to check in with me on the night he knew was going to be very difficult for me to sleep. I think that kind of says a lot about how he felt about me. I don't know. Of course, I was holding on to this for a while because I really just thought he went above and beyond. And I really just thought he was like this amazing person who saw me as more than my body. But not too long after that, it all became even more intensely inappropriate, and just like the things that he was requesting from me, that kind of took me by surprise. But yeah, I kind of just like put up with it because I was like, well, he respects me, right? He respects me for more than the physical attraction. From like late October onward, he started to pull back just a little bit, and I let it go for a while without saying anything. But then late November, I was like, look, you like rarely snap me anymore. If you don't want to talk, like just communicate that with me. And he said that that wasn't the case. And then I had told him that if he was talking to any other women the way he was talking to me, then he needed to unsave my snaps because like I'm not that bitch. And he said that he wasn't talking to other women like that. He wasn't hooking up with anybody because he, quote unquote, never does that. And I believed him. I literally believed everything he said all the time. And that was very naive of me, I admit. From that conversation, I thought there was this understanding that if he was going to be fucking around or flirting with anybody else, asking for pics from them, he needed to delete mine. Unfortunately, it took me a couple more months to figure out that he wasn't respecting that request whatsoever. Then February comes around and he shows up on TikTok Live with hickeys on his neck. So I was like, obviously there's someone else and you're being dishonest with me. Of course I had to address this because I was hurt and I had every right to be. Not long after that, he discloses that he's seeing her. And I was like, oh, see, I thought you didn't want commitment, but that's my bad. The next weekend, he posts a thirst trap on TikTok with her. And I was like, all right, got it. In that comment section, I saw another woman say something regarding the fact that they had been talking a month prior. And I was like, wait a second, I need to know if this is legit. So I DM'd her. It took all of like 1 minute for her to realize that we literally got played by the same guy. And I can't even tell you the emotions that went through my body that entire night. A couple days later, boom, I get a DM from another woman saying that she and her friend went through something very similar as well. And I was like, holy shit, I'm learning so much. Fast forward one more week, and here I am sitting here with knowledge of at least 6 other women who were played by the same guy in the same time period. I'm just disgusted, bro. I have genuinely never been more wrong about somebody in my entire life. For 9 months, I thought that he was this amazing person. I respected him. I thought he respected me. I thought that the person he showed online was the person he truly was, and I was proven so horribly wrong. So when I started speaking about this publicly, his only response has been to say that I'm insane because he wants to take away my credibility before more people find out about this. All I have to say to that is there are some very strong women that I am aligned with and share experiences with, and we're not going to stand for some dude getting away with icky behavior. You can't sit there and pretend that you care about women and respecting them, and then you berate people for disrespecting women, and then you're doing the same thing behind the scenes. The fact that you think that you don't have to be held accountable is actually really sickening, and it's disheartening, to be honest. I'm so glad that I found this out before I ever met up with him, because that would have just made everything a million times worse. But that's the story. Sorry this video got really long, but yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions or show some receipts I've got.
He did inform me that there was no roster, essentially implying I was the only person he was talking to, the only person he was receiving photos from. And I was, again, fine with that. But of course, if you're going to tell me that there's no roster and I'm the only person you're talking to.
And also any person who has been a victim of this certain political TikToker, I am always available to talk. If you need support or just somebody to talk to, I'm here. I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. I'm mostly crying because I'm really proud of all of these girls for coming forward, because I know how manipulative and conniving and overall dangerous this political TikToker is. And for so long, because I've been talking about him and his disgusting behavior for over a year now. Nobody believed me. You know, I had a few people that obviously did. It was just like, it was never taken serious. And like, above all, I'm pissed because he is the same fucking guy that's gonna end up in the fucking political hierarchy that has all of these allegations but has too much power within to ever be actually taken down. That's exactly where he's headed, and he's been heading there for so long. As somebody who's known him since I was 18, and we were incredibly close, we met in person a few times, I really don't care if he makes an apology. I don't care if he takes accountability. I don't care about all that because it's going to be fake, and I can promise you that. And it's going to be gaslighting everybody. He's an incredibly sick individual, fairly perverted, and he's been getting away with this for so fucking long. It got to a point where it was just too exhausting to even try to, put stuff out. I am really happy that it's gaining traction now. And I think she worded it perfectly. The woman that I stitched, it's like these champions for women, right? And the idolizing of these men that care about women. It's just a ploy to try to get into their pants. It's not like I could go through everything that he has done. I could probably make a freaking novel on it. And if you want, I can talk about some of them that I remember. Some of them I can't talk about because I'm legally not allowed to do so. Or it's legally a bad idea for me to talk about it. But I do want to say to this woman, thank you so much for coming forward. I didn't have strength for a while to be persistent on this, and you gave me that back. Thank you. And to all of the other victims, again, I'm always here. So before I get into these around 50 screenshots providing evidence and context for anything that I have said, I do want to reiterate something just for even more context. I met Harry in summer of 2020. We were both kind of like the original political TikTokers, and we were on the Dem High Pass, which was a huge political TikTok account. Our relationship has always been friend-based. However, when I did go to Jersey to visit my aunt, he has a summer house there, so we did hook up a couple times. So it was kind of like friends with benefits, but it was kind of established that if we saw each other in person, we'd probably hook up. But our conversations outside of seeing each other in person or whatever were never really like flirty or anything like that. So I was never under any sort of impression that we were exclusive ever. We never were like that. So my story is going to be different than a lot of these girls. Just putting that out there. So up until about maybe the beginning of 2023, I would have considered Harry one of my best friends. And let me know if you see a pattern here. But what really kicked that off was that he was the one recording my rapist when I called him and got him admitting to raping me on audio, okay? Which was great, whatever. And then Harry started drinking. So when Harry started drinking, he started getting a lot more aggressively flirty. I apologize for my hand tremors, I can't control them, but if you want to pause and screenshot those, these are times in which Harry was getting obliterated drunk and calling, FaceTiming, and saying very sexual things to me. I didn't really care. It's whatever, drunk words, sober thoughts, you get it. And then this is when I noticed kind of a shift in Harry. He started to gain a lot more attention, a lot more of a following, and he created a Discord in which it was a very exclusive Discord, and very strange, creepy people were allowed in the Discord. I was in it for a little bit, but I was like never allowed to talk in it. So that's where Harry meets somebody named Camille, okay? I was advised not to, by my father, not to pursue an internship or a job with this Camille guy because my dad said he looked sketchy. Harry decided to go ahead and do so. And this is when I started getting messages from a minor, whom I will not say the name, with autism, who is also in the Discord. He was probably around 14 at the time. And he was sending me some concerning things regarding what Camille would send to him. Those are things I cannot show for legal reasons, but very much so did happen, and I contacted his mom, everything. But you know who was working for him? Harry. And I told Harry about everything that Camille was doing. Here's the proof of that. This is a conversation between Camille and the minor in question. Camille texts him, why do they know so many details then? Why do they have screenshots? And in those same texts, you will see him saying he's going to lose a business partner, aka Harry. Now, Harry would respond with, yeah, that's super messed up. I won't work for him anymore. That's crazy. And then I got this message from the minor saying that Harry still is working for Camille. So I reach out to Harry. And this is the conversation from that little debacle. And then it got to a point wherein I was seeing if I should be contacting the police because this minor happens to be based internationally. He's not in America. And I advised Harry that I'm doing so, and he starts advising me not to do so. Through FaceTime audio, mind you. But here's the conversation about him advising me not to do so. And if you see with all of the other girls too, he loves calling women lunatics, they're crazy, conspiracy theory, his favorite. Okay, let's continue. Oh, here's a random little tidbit, not really related to what I'm talking about, but I figured I'd share screenshots of Harry with my saved inappropriate photos in the chat. See, I am really sitting here admitting that I did send inappropriate, because it was like a fun little fling. For me, this is like less about the romantic part of anything. I don't really mind that. I don't like that they're saved, but like the whole inappropriate photos thing, not really my main issue. The context of it is though, so hold on. So here's me saying point blank to Harry, what's a conspiracy theory? The grooming part or me quite literally finding your relationship with Camille and all of this is suspicious. That's a speculation, not a theory. Anyway, and this is after Harry called me about 20 times and me not answering, and him saying, this is truly insane, like, Hannah, you don't know anything about Camille in this entire situation, nor do you know what Chris and I dealt with when it came to Camille. Essentially, like, putting his issues with Camille above the fact that he's literally grooming a minor. Anyway. Eventually, however, I was manipulated into thinking that he was no longer working for Camille. Whoops. So then October 7th happens. I don't know if I showed this already, but this is also important in the context of everything. I'm sorry, this is so confusing. Everything is everywhere. Okay. So then Harry calls me saying that he's making some federal complaint against Camille. Okay, and I'm like, period, right? And so here's that conversation. Essentially, he tells me that 2 other people are in on it. And then I said, okay, we had a little tiff pass behind us. We're homies now. He then asked me for nudes, unsent the message. And that's what I was talking about when I said, tried to get me to send him nudes because he pretended that he cared about the predation. So I said, I saw that, you freak. Are you drunk or something? Okay. But I didn't realize that until way later on because then October 7th happened and we were constantly arguing about that. So here is me trying to call Harry because I was trying to talk to him about, Middle East stuff. He questions. He says he's tired. I say whatever. He goes, you know what it's a perfect time for though? Referring to nudes. I said, you're funny. Then he unsent a message and I said, I saw that, you freak. Anyways, then I had a phone call with the minor. He called me at like 10 p.m. I was like, what the fuck? I answer and he's asking these really, really strange questions. And I'm like, what the hell? Come to find out, Harry and Camille were working together to try to get me to say something. So if I say anything in the future, I'd lose my credibility. Okay. And here, I know it's small. I was trying to preserve ink. And I know it's probably going to be backwards too. Whatever. I'll post these more straight up next time. That is the fake cease and desist I received soon after for $500,000, accusing me of racism on TikTok because I have anti-Zionist approaches to things, amongst a ton of other insane things, which I will share later on. So I confronted him about it, yada, yada, yada. And if I didn't already have enough proof of him asking me for inappropriate pictures at very inappropriate times, here's more, where I say to him, so true, he wanted me to stop picking an argument with him, stupid. So true, I'll meet you in the middle. Next time you want inappropriate pictures, just find someone else and leave me alone next time. He said, yeah, that definitely works for me. So there's him admitting that. Anyways, here's also more creepy text regarding inappropriate photos. I don't remember the context of some of these, so. Now when the creepy texts and threats come in, this is my favorite part. All of these are all screenshots of threatening texts I got. But it doesn't end there. I have an audio. So I got a phone call from a blocked number when I was home in California. My sister recorded this, and this is kind of what happened. Who? Don't post anything about who?
Camille.
Who's Camille? I was lying.
Maroon.
Oh, Camille Maroon. Or what?
For your own sake.
Or what?
Or I'll fucking kill you.
There's an example. So when Harry and I kind of went dark, you know, like we stopped talking to each other altogether, it was because he found out that I was still talking to this guy I used to talk to. And he called me, told me to go fuck myself. Was just super fucking pissed that that was happening. So maybe he thought I owed something to him, but I didn't. And I didn't think he thought I did. I don't fucking know. Also the end all was the loss of my now regrettable friendship with my old friend Melina, whom I have a screenshot on that. This is her essentially ending the friendship with me because I was posting shit about Harry. So, I mean, who knows? I don't know if any of this made sense. I'm really sorry that all of this is backwards in regards to the screenshots. I will be kind of breaking it down in parts, but this is just kind of the full account. There are definitely things that I missed and screenshots that I did not show because it's just I don't have much time left in this. So there is more to the story, but there's just some evidence on some of this stuff.
So as of 4 days ago, when all these stories about Harry broke, as of that time, Camille Maroon not only had a social media company that he founded and ran, a company with which Harry worked, but he also had a public LinkedIn that was directly associated with Impulse, which is the company he founded and currently runs, a company that he is no longer listed on, because even though Google shows the archive of him having an account, he has either deleted it or set it to private. Also, as of 4 days ago, he used to have an Instagram. However, that has also been deleted. Now, Camille was very obviously involved deeply with TikTok and TikTok creators. But as of today, he has pretty much vanished from the internet. His entire online presence, which was fully active 4 days ago, is now gone. Now, like I said, I'm not coming to any conclusions on this, but it does seem pretty coincidental that when this information came out about Harry, and that girl, I'm not going to give her name, I don't want her to be a target, but she put out information where she knew Camille was up to some shit, and she made Harry aware that Camille was up to some shit. And even though Harry promised he was going to get to the bottom of it and wasn't going to work with him anymore, he not only kept doing that, but she actually has a recording of a death threat she received, telling her, stop talking about Camille.
Camille. Who? Don't post anything about who?
Camille.
Who's Camille? I was lying.
Marooned.
Oh, Camille Maroon. Or what?
For your own sake.
Or what?
Or I'll fucking kill you.
Because if the information about Harry and Camille wasn't suspicious before, the fact that the day after the information about him broke, he deleted every single bit of his online presence is. So let me be very clear that we are going to get to the bottom of this. We are going to continue to find out the facts here. But I just wanted all of you to be aware of the current situation. And please, feel free to look into it yourself.
Other women came forward sharing similar stories. One woman named Hannah said she knew Sisson since they were young and that he is allegedly predatory and manipulative.
Give like some cliff notes here again, because I guess like we've now made this a thing, but I guess not many people knew about it. So okay, here's the deal. I think like I'm gonna give like very blunt cliff notes. There was an individual on Snapchat who lived in the state of Illinois while Harry lived in the state of New York. They started engaging in consensual exchange of explicit Just things, explicit things. I think that the parameter for Harry was, my understanding of this is, the parameter from Harry was originally set saying we are, like, this is for fun. We are not exclusive. If that is not okay with you, that's totally cool with me. I think that, like, one big thing I consistently talk about, and like I debate with people on this all the time, is like, again, just being like very intentional about like what you want. Like, I don't think that there's a problem with wanting like to have fun, right? But being clear about wanting to have fun, not leading people on. So being clear, like, this is what this is. And through that, I think that this individual then, I guess, leaked the photos and said that Harry got a girlfriend. I don't know. She says that she was led on. That's kind of like the cliff notes. Harry and this individual I've never met in person. And
Never FaceTime them.
never faced him. So that's,
Or at least spoken on FaceTime, I should say.
yeah, I think that's like, those are the cliff. Yeah, someone said, oh, high school stuff. Those are the cliff notes. I think that
Yes, high school stuff.
I think that, yeah, I think that, like, again, like I think this is being like blown in pretty intensely out of proportion, but the idea being that like, Harry engaged in saying, you know, essentially, she asked, are you seeing other people? Are you talking to other people? And, Harry said, no. Was he actively engaging and talking to other people on texting them or Snapchatting? Yes. Was that a mistake? Yes. You should not have done that. That was a mistake. And I think that, like, and again, I think that, like, in this aspect, and I think, like, genuinely, like, we don't have any ill will toward these people. I think that, like, you not, like, allowing the framing to be, I'm sorry. Like, we live in a...
You can say whatever you want. I think it is important. So somebody says, so yes or no, you cheated? No, because I wasn't I made abundantly clear with any of these people that there was no exclusivity. And again, I have messages.
Harry was leading X, Y, and Z. Like, we both know that they were talking to both of us at the same time. In fact, I was in the same room getting the same images and stuff while we're now claiming that, like, it's a being led on. I don't want to get into this, but, like, this is, like, the framing here is unbelievably dishonest. It's dishonest. It is. I agree with the idea.
But to do that to someone else, almost in an extortion kind of way, is really sick, really gross. He's gone out calling them lunatics. He's called them crazy. He's called them conspiracy theorists. He's called them crazy fangirls. And now his fan base is like going crazy. They're attacking Sarah Fields, and all these girls are going private. It's really sad what's happening. But as always, all of that is just my perspective. That is my take on the situation. And I tried to be very fair as far as putting all the evidence out there and not just telling you, right? And not just telling you what the accusations are, but playing the video clips of these actual women and all their different stories and how they seem to line up. They line up on the Discord. They line up on being called crazy. They line up on being gaslit. They line up on the text messages back and forth. And so when you take a look at it at a whole, it just does not look good.
Impulse's vision has always been to drive modernization across your digital marketing, crisis management, and enterprise software needs. It is with that vision that we are incredibly proud to announce that we have come together with our fantastic ad buy partners to offer a special July promotion. From now through July 14th, any client buying a prepaid ad credit of $10,000 up until $200,000 will receive a 75% bonus. This prepaid ad spend can be used for a period of 5 years across all major platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Contact us and allow us to strengthen your brand's pulse today for the ever-evolving markets of tomorrow.
I am proudly serving as Chief of Staff for Impulse LLC, working with our amazing team to meet our clients.
Harry said that in March 2023 that Camille approached him with a business opportunity which was revealed to be fraudulent. He then said Camille leveraged this relationship to procure personal information which he used to commit identity theft against Harry. He then went on to say Camille opened credit cards and incurred tens of thousands of dollars of debt in his name. He then said that around this time, it was brought to his attention that Camille was committing other various crimes, including harming minors. He goes on to say that once he became aware of this, he immediately sought legal advice, and upon recommendation, he gathered evidence and notified federal authorities.
In March 2023, Camille approached me with a business opportunity which was eventually revealed to be fraudulent. Camille leveraged this relationship to procure personal information which he used to commit identity theft against me. Camille opened credit cards and incurred tens of thousands of dollars of debt in my name. Around this time, it was brought to my attention that Camille was committing various other crimes, including harming minors. Once I became aware of this, I immediately sought legal advice and, upon recommendation, gathered evidence and notified federal authorities, becoming the first to contact the FBI and file a police report against him. I had not spoken publicly about any of this at the request of law enforcement and in an effort to protect victims who were actively at risk. Despite our political disagreements, we are aligned on this. It's important for his victims to feel empowered to come forward and put an end to Camille's actions once and for all. As this has been reported to police and the first reported to the FBI, this should be very easy to verify.
Hey y'all, I'm gonna need your help making sure Harry Sisson gets this video. And bro, please know this video has nothing to do with politics. This isn't Democrats and Republicans or liberals and conservatives. This is both a plea to you as well as a warning. You need to get out in front of this. And no, Harry, I'm not talking about the Snapchats with girls. Like, Harry, you have to understand, we have the receipts, and we're getting hundreds more of them every single day. Bro, we have the Discord messages, we have recordings of the voice calls, we have the text messages, we have the reports to the FBI, we have the reports to the local police, we have the fake cease and desist letters, we have the voice and the video conversations with the 14-year-old. We have the honeypots, we have the bank transfers, we have the ownership records, and we have hundreds of young men, boys that are giving us their stories. This is not something that's gonna go away. Like, dude, this is serious. See, because, dude, once we break this, you are either gonna be looked at as another one of Camille's victims, or you're gonna be part of what he did. Those are legitimately the only two options here. So you can either get out in front of this and be a part of taking this asshole down, or you can go down with him. Because, bro, I've seen the receipts. I've seen hundreds of records of horrible shit, blatant evidence, as well as firsthand accounts with video of horrible shit. And like I said, dude, you're either another one of his victims or you're part of it. You need to make up your mind, dude. What's it gonna be?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of TikTok world. I actually have my makeup done in this video because I was supposed to go on with Newsmax actually 10 minutes ago, and they canceled on me the moment that I mentioned Camille's name. So, y'all are going to get all of the information that I was going to reveal in the interview on this TikTok video. Let's go. Also, this message is for Harry, and I need this message to get to Harry. He has me blocked everywhere, but this is definitely something Harry needs to hear. Harry, you are either involved in this as a victim or you are complicit, and you need to choose which one it is. The file on Camille T. Maroon is extremely extensive, and it has all been provided to me, and it is really damning. But here's the issue. All of this evidence was provided to the FBI under the Biden administration, so this was several years ago, and it was all swept away. So here are a few facts that we know about Camille Maroon and what needs to happen. This is bigger than Harry Sisson. This is bigger than anything I have ever reported on in the past. Camille is the founder of an LLC called Impulse. Since information about all of this has begun to leak out from the victims, Camille has deleted all of his social media, he has deleted his LinkedIn, and now the Impulse website reroutes back to TikTok. Through an advertisement that was released, Harry Sisson admits to being the chief of staff for Impulse LLC.
I am proudly serving as Chief of Staff for Impulse LLC, working with our amazing team to meet our clients, brand management,
However, Harry no longer works with Camille because Camille actually stole a very sizable amount from Harry. Impulse LLC is a company that advertised to themselves as a career agency for young TikTok influencers. But this was not the case. Camille pretended to be an attorney who provided legal advice for a fee to young influencers on TikTok. He seemed to have a type because a lot of these young influencers were male and about the age of 18, 19 years old. And he, once they became his clients, would gain access to all of their passwords and usernames of all of their social media, including Snapchat. We have evidence that Camille extorted his victims for acts, you know what I mean,
And this included taking young boys with him onto cruise ships, minors. He would also prey on minors and other young adults in other countries, promising them visas so that he could bring them to the United States. They would send Camille $2,500 via PayPal, to which Camille would respond and say, here are the documents where I have applied for your visa. The documents were fake. Then when the students, or excuse me, some of them were students, when the minors and the young kids realized that they were not getting approved for their visas, they would then approach Camille, email and say, hey, where's my visa? And he would say, send me more money. I need more money. They would then send him more money. And then when they would still not receive their visas, Camille would send a fake cease and desist letter and get them to be silenced. And a lot of these people were shut down and were quieted because they were terrified of Camille. Camille did manipulate a 14-year-old boy from Australia. This particular boy has already released videos speaking on this situation, and for legal reasons I will not be reposting and I will not be posting it. And anyone who has, shame on you. He is now 15. He is still a minor. There is a recorded honeypotted phone call with Camille, the 14-year-old from Australia, Harry Sisson, Chris Mowry, and one other person I will not name. It revealed a full confession from Camille regarding what he had done to this 14-year-old child. A former New York legislator who was in office at the time and worked in emergency services dealing with victims regularly had this honeypotted phone call, all of the evidence, all of the information from multiple victims, legal documents, and provided them all to the FBI. Instead of providing all this evidence, the recorded phone call, the court documents and all, to local authorities and continuing to conduct their own investigation, the FBI shut it down. They closed the investigation and threatened the legislator and said that they were going to charge him with obstruction and for harassing Camille. I am currently in contact with this former legislator. One TikToker in particular, his name is Evan, has already come forward and told his story about what happened when he was scammed by Camille. We need more victims to speak up. This is a plea to all victims to come forward, including Harry Sisson, who has remained silent on all of this. Harry, you are either a victim or you are complicit. You cannot be both. We have the evidence. We have everything. It's all out there already. You need to go public. You need to condemn Camille, and you need to call for investigation immediately. Speak up, Harry.
Wow, I've been seeing a lot of videos about Camille T. Maroon going around with this guy named Harry Sisson and how they've been working together. Let me share my side of the story with Camille T. Maroon. I've got some tea. Let's start off with the fact that Camille T. Maroon is the most psychopath person I have ever met in my entire life. And he will lie about the littlest thing. He will lie about getting a half gallon of milk at the gas station even though it was a gallon. Why? It's the dumbest thing ever, trust me. He lies about literally everything. Just know that. So if anybody has talked to him, he has lied about everything he has told you. That's how bad of a liar he is. So when did I meet Camille? I met him in my TikTok live stream that I started a week before he came in there. He came in there asking if I was in a TikTok agency and I said no. And he's like, you should get in one. I own an agency, and they pretty much get you unbanned right away. They make you a lot more money. You can be a live pro faster in an agency because it markets you more, so you can make $50,000 a month or more on this TikTok agency. I clicked on his profile picture, and he looked really weird, really sketchy. I didn't want anything to do with the guy. So what did I do? I ignored him. The next day on my Instagram, where I'm an online fitness coach, he texted me Elite, where I have people DM me Elite so that they can get into my coaching. He DM'd me Elite. He goes, hey, I'm actually not interested in the coaching. I know you responded already. Because I responded with, hey, you're actually interested in the coaching. Let's get everything rolling and let's get the ball growing. Or whatever, you know. But, yeah, that wasn't the case. He wanted me to join his agency. And he's like, you got to join. I mentioned, or I heard you say that you lived in Wisconsin on your live stream. And I was like, yeah, maybe we can meet up or something. And he's like, yeah. We exchanged numbers because he told me that he lived in Wisconsin also. So we exchanged numbers. We got on a call, we were talking. He seemed like a really nice, cool dude, very well-spoken. Little did I know that was part of his two faces, part of his two sides of mentality. Yeah, we spoke, and I went to go to this coffee shop about a week later after, you know, talking on the phone, saying that we should meet up. That was a bad idea. He, not like, I didn't realize this was a bad idea until later on, like months later, because I realized what he was doing and what was going on. So the reason I went to this coffee shop was to join the agency and meet him in person, because that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to talk face to face. I got there. He was very nervous and shaky and super awkward, like didn't know what to say. He was frozen. And I was like, wow, this guy's pretty fucking weird. But he got normal. He after like 5 minutes of us trying to engage conversation, he was normal. You know, he made me to join his agency, sign this NDA contract that I didn't know wasn't for the agency. He told me it was for the agency to join it, and I had to sign it before I went in. I didn't know that, and I didn't read it because I was just like, whatever. It's a lot to read, man. I'll just sign it. But I was like, should I wait till someone confirms and reads it before I sign it? He's like, no, just sign it right now. And I was like, oh, okay. Signed it. Then he asked, after I signed that contract, for all of my social medias, passwords, my social security number, for when he makes a percentage from the money that I make from these TikTok gifts from live streaming, that he'll send over a percentage of what I make that he makes from me over to my bank account. So he wanted my social security number for that. I didn't know that. That's not even a thing, because I never really got into that banking stuff, or I never really sent transfers or whatever. So I was just like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Social security number to send money to my bank straight from you. Okay. Did that. I'm young. I'm dumb. Yes, I understand. That was a horrible idea. Also, especially not knowing who this man was before, you know. So let's get on to the part where, while I was at this coffee shop, he said that if I reached a certain amount of diamonds this month, which I would be the first person in the world if I ever did it, TikTok would invite me down to headquarters for a week, go to California, Beverly Hills Hotel for a week, 2 bedrooms. It would be awesome. TikTok would pay for everything. I was like, oh, awesome. So what did I do? I worked my ass off to go to this TikTok headquarters, and I made it. I got this diamond count, but he's a liar, and I wasn't the first person in the world to do it, and actually a lot of people can do it. So he was just trying to hype me up to make me do this so he makes more money off of it, because he gets a percentage of what I make. Anyways, before we went on this trip, he told me to invest money in this investment that made him like hundreds of millions of millionaire. Like, he's got hundreds of millions from this investment, and it only comes out a certain amount of times per year with this special investment group that he has with a guy named Tommy or something. But man, that was a bad idea too, because I gave him $8,000 before our trip, before we went to LA for TikTok headquarters, in that whole week. I gave him $8,000 to invest in this investment that he said was supposed to go up 7,000% or so and so percent. Horrible idea. Also, literally right before we left, he's like, dude, you should invest. I had to send that $8,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 wire transfer before that trip. And then he told me to bring $2,000 extra cash to invest into this thing, because he said it's a great opportunity, and he thinks the percentages are going to go even higher than what he said when I invested the $7,000 or $8,000. So I was like, oh, this could be a really, really good opportunity. This is how you made a lot of your money? I'm going to definitely invest into this. And I was like, what do I have to sign? Do I have to sign anything? Is there anything going on with this? He's like, no, dude, I got it all covered for you. This is really easy. I got all the connections. I'm going to make it really easy for you. You just get the money when I take it out. I was like, wow, that's awesome. This is awesome. Holy, might become a millionaire off this investment or whatever. Make hundreds of thousands off this investment. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. That's besides the point. He told me I would get a confirmation in the mail from these investments about a month later, by the way, which I never got. 5 months later, 4 times we went over this. He's like, yeah, you'll get it. Actually, I'll resend it. You got your email? I'll send it to your email then. Never got it. 4 times. Yeah, that's that's when I knew he was lying about this whole investment thing. But that's not where it stops. This is not even close to where it stops here. I've got so much. There's going to be a part 2 to this. So where were we? He told me that this investment was supposed to go so-and-so up amount, so I invested $2,000 extra cash. So when we got to LA, by the way, I mentioned before that TikTok said there was 2 beds, so it wouldn't be weird. There was only 1 bed. And when we got there to check in our hotel, I saw that there was only 1 bed. I was like, why is there only 1 bed? He's like, they must have messed up. TikTok must have messed up. I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go sleep on the couch then. And he's like, no, don't sleep on the couch. You're sleeping with me. You know, do you not trust me? Evan, you wouldn't even be here in this situation in California if it wasn't for me giving you these opportunities. I was like, no, I'm not sleeping in the same bed as you. I'm sleeping in the living room on the fucking couch. Can tell you that much. You're weird looking too. I don't want to fucking go by you and ugh. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head too. Yeah. He got cranky at me for saying I'm going to go sleep on the couch in the living room because of trust issues. Boy, oh boy. Later did I realize my trust issues were right on the money. So he goes to invest this $2,000 cash after the first night of being in LA. He seemed fine, seemed normal. You know, we had a laugh, whatever. He invested this money that I gave to him, $2,000 extra cash, to go to the bank to put in this investment. He calls me while he's there. I didn't even know if he did he even actually go there. I have no idea. Still to this day, I don't know. Man, he calls me. Hey, you're $187 short. I'm like, no, Camille, there's no way I'm $187 short, because I can tell you this much. I had no uneven numbers in there. It was hundreds and 20s. How can I be $3 short? No, I couldn't have been. So I kind of knew he was lying there too. And I was catching on to these red flags. The whole 1 bed thing, now it's $187, telling me to invest before this trip. So part 2 here. Anyways, this Diddy Jr., Camille T. Maroon here, he had me invest in these LLCs for 2 brand deals that he said were really amazing. And I was like, okay, should I invest in these it was a Gymshark and GNC brand deal that he said I was getting, which was fake, by the way. And he told me that I needed 2 LLCs to be created, and it costs $1,400 for both of them to be made. And I believed him. I was like, because I'm a fitness influencer, I'm young, I want to be in sponsorships and brand deals with these awesome big companies, you know? Cool. I'm like, yeah, dude, give me the LLC, how do I do it? He's like, just send me $1,400 on Cash App, I'll get them created, and everything will be said and done. Well, it was fake, you know. I sent him the $1,400. He made the LLCs, but he pocketed the extra money that he didn't have to spend to make those LLCs. So then he sends me this screenshot, or this thing while we're on FaceTime, of him showing me the picture of, or the document or whatever you would say, of Gymshark's brand deal, which was fake. That's also fake. So now I'm realizing that's an edited picture. That's not even from Gymshark. I know what it would look like. That is not even real. Now I'm like getting a little more sketched out. But man, maybe I'm just overthinking everything. This is probably just all this is probably all just not even that bad, and I'm just overthinking it because I've never been on a trip with someone to a different state that I just met. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and this is actually just opportunity that I need to chase. So I told my friend to invest with him, and my friend invested $14,000, and I wanted to give him another $6,000 to invest, and then I invested $5,000 extra with my money. So now I just spent $11,000 more of my money, technically $5,000 because I gave him $6,000 to invest more. So now we're down tens of thousands of dollars, not even knowing it at this point. And my friend was not in the agency. He's 17 years old. He's not even old enough to be able to be investing. So he's underage. This is illegal already, all right? But Camille's like, no, it's fine. You're 17, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just invest. You know, that you're going to make a bunch of money. You'll be 18 with a shitload of money from this investment. I was like, okay, yeah, good for both of us. You know, this is my friend, my buddy. I want to see him make it. You know, I want him to be, you know, well off financially. I'm a good guy. You know, I'm a bro. So me doing that, you know, finding out it was fake a little while back. But, yeah, so I can't remember what I said in the last thing because I did this is a little bit while further that I'm making this video. So, whatever, blah, blah, blah. All the people that are in his TikTok agency that I talk to on the daily basis and go live with and battle them, they are all young, you know, freshly 18, 19-year-olds, handsome, you know, definitely look like they'd be attractive on the scale. They get a bunch of girls, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're fit. This is the people that he brings into his agency and he talks to and says they're cute. Yeah, he's pretty cute. You do well. You're hot. You do really good. Oh, man. And he's like 26 years old. I found that super weird. And well, after the trip was done, I had a good time, had a laugh. We were having a freaking great time. Golly, this was awesome. Week later, you know, I get in this live stream with someone that I had to block. I didn't have to block. He went on my phone and just started blocking these people because he's like, it's too complicated. Let me just get on your phone and block these people because these are my ops. These are people you do not want to be talking to. These people are going to do something in some way to you that you don't want. And that person seemed to be, well, them people I found out were someone that was in a lawsuit with him for Camille being in the wrong. And the other person was a person that he scammed and is telling everybody on the app about what he does. So he had me block them before I could get to know about what he actually is onto. He's not actually trying to be my friend. He just wants to scam me for money and take me on this trip to maybe even get with me. As scary as it sounds, he wanted to do something with me because he bought the one bed and I did not want to sleep on it with him. He got all cranky with me. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this story goes on. You know, I call him. I'm like, hey, Camille, I need my money back. I don't have enough. I'm lying. I don't have enough money for food right now. I'm in a terrible situation. You know how my life is right now. I'm sleeping on a floor. I just had to move out. You know, everything's not going well in my favor right now. I just need my money back as soon as possible. And he's like, yes, cash at me $500 and I'll get it out for you. Cash apped him $500. Said I would get my money a week later. I gave him my banking information. Said it wasn't right. Must have been something wrong with the banking information. I rechecked it. It wasn't wrong. So he made me send my other banking information. Sent him that. He's just like, no, man, I don't know what's going on. It's just not going through. I don't know why you're not getting your money back. And I was like, really? So you're telling me that Jim Stark and GNC haven't responded in multiple days now for this brand deal that they wanted me for, and I'm not getting any confirmations on the investments that I've sent to you, and I'm not getting my money back, and I've been getting told by people that I am not supposed to be talking to you because you're a horrible person. And he's like, blows up at me. He freaking blew up at me. He's texting me, telling me that he's suing me for 180 grand, 9 accounts of something about I broke the rules in the NDA contract I signed at the coffee shop that I never read, saying that I broke 9 accounts and it's $20,000 each account. So I'm now down 180 grand, I'm thinking. And keep in mind this NDA signed was not done in good faith, so it was never a real thing. He only did that to leverage on me, make me think that I couldn't say anything or do anything or tell anybody about this because of the NDA contract. And I was like, Camille, I'm in the worst situation right now. I had to call him. I was literally crying because I was like, my life is a fucking pile of shit right now, and you're really gonna do this to me right now, saying all of this stuff. You're making my life so much worse. I hung up on him. I was pissed, fucking so pissed and crying. Then I ignored him. He was texting me, raging, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Next day, his agency got taken down. His TikTok agency that I was still in. TikTok agency got taken down. The reason it got taken down is because some higher-ups found out that he was scamming multiple people, 18-year-old, fresh 18-year-olds that don't have enough money to pursue legal action against him because he took all their money. And just pocketing it, using it to go on more trips with other fresh 18-year-olds and hopefully trying to be able to get with them with, you know, being in the one bed, taking advantage of him with the weird guy that he is. Freaking Diddy Jr. over here. It's unreal. Oh, man, it's sickening to be even talking about this. I don't know how I got into this, wrapped up in the situation, and got my friend. I feel like a piece of shit. My friend's not going to get his money back. He's still trying to get his money back to this day, and he's not even 18 yet, so still illegal. I don't know how I got wrapped up in this situation. At this point, I'm just like, holy shit, I'm just going to do a bunch more research, find out as much people that got scammed. His agency got taken down, right, like I was saying before. Sends me a picture of a gun to his head on Snapchat. A gun to his head. And I'm like, Camille, you don't got to do this, man. I know everything going on right now is just not good. We got a bunch of shit going on. I think it's all, you know what? What's going on? He's like, my agency got taken down. I'm like, it's probably because you're fucking scamming people on the app. And I don't know how to explain this, but I was like in such mixed emotion. I was like, what is my life right now? My friend's losing tens of thousands of dollars. I'm losing tens of thousands of dollars. And my friend especially does not have enough money to be able to recover from that. I'm financially okay. He is not. So I feel like the biggest piece of shit in the fucking world. Like, actually. Feel horrible. And I did my research, found out that, you know, he was doing more stuff. You know, he did stuff with an autistic 14-year-old, getting pictures from him, sending pictures or something. This is not a confirmed fact. This is something that I heard, so I don't know if it's completely true. I also did Spicy. I did the Spicy, still do it. And he logged into my accounts on my Spicy so he could see all my pictures and stuff that I was, you know, doing for the Spicy page. And it's essentially like this guy is a lunatic, insane, stealing money from young kids and trying to get with them on trips.
Oh, I'm telling my story. How I got groomed by this sick man named Camille Maroon. I currently told him I'm making this video, and he's like threatening legal action against me. He's saying that I'm getting sued, and he's like sending me all these notices, and I'll show you them now. Pause to read, by the way. So there's this one, pause to read as well if you need to. And then that's the bottom. All because I'm making this video, and here's his response as well to me when I replied to it. My face is like this because I'm covering up my address at the bottom because he posted my address, but yeah, that's that. And this is him, by the way. Yeah, so anyway, more of the story. So this man would send me money to basically get me to be friends with him or coerce me to be friends with him. He would send me $200, $300, $500, literally just send me heaps of money, and I've got more proof of that now. And here it is. Like, obviously it was money, so I wasn't gonna say like no to this stuff. Like that is a lot of money, and I obviously wasn't gonna say no to that. But he would send me all this money to try get me to like be friend, like all this sort of stuff. It was generally just really concerning and sick behavior. Hold up, I've got more there. So yeah, it was honestly just concerning behavior. He would send me nude photographs, photos of his genitals, and like I don't not want to see that stuff. And I have proof of him admitting to this stuff, but I don't want TikTok to take this video down. So like if you guys want to see a part 2, if this gets like some interaction, I'll post like the screen recordings. He also owns a company named Impulse LLC, where he claims he works with clients like Emma Watson and like Noah Schnapp, and like just like pretty mainstream celebrities. He claims that, you know, his ex-girlfriend was Barack Obama's daughter. This guy is a genuine, absolute sick man, and I'm trying to bring awareness to the situation that if anyone out there who's like dealt with this man, Camille, or his company Impulse LLC, like it's genuinely, honestly disgusting what this man does. And if anyone out there has dealt with like similar stuff, spread your story, go and spread it, because like this man needs to be held accountable for his actions.